Imagine going to bed at 38 and waking up at 13 years old, or rolling over and realizing it's 1986 and you're wearing jeans that legally qualify as a hate crime. That's the Hollywood magic of the chronological hangover, the wrong reality at the wrong time genre. Today, we're talking body swaps, accidental time jumps, alternate timelines, and cinematic identity crises that make your worst hangover look peaceful. Let's dive into the movies where the universe hits random.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, Captain Mustache, a.k.a., of course, John Lally, of course. Anyways, with me, as always, is my boy, Grumpy Beard, or sorry, Mr. Grumpy Beard, get it right.
That's Mr.
A.k.a. Matt Gunther with me.
What's going on, everybody?
So, yes, the chronological hangover. I love it, Matt, because, it's crazy because when you look at a lot of these movies we're going to talk about today, they're just, I know we've talked about a lot of iconic movies, but, it's just like some of these movies you can kind of, I'm not saying quote. I mean, I don't know if I can quote all of these movies, but they're just, I don't know. They're just some movies that just have that nostalgic little factor. Like, I know that's going to be some things of what we're talking about, but
for sure. Yeah.
I mean, he's like, shut up, John, about my age. He's like, don't talk about my age, John. And I'm like, well, okay. I do remember. It's crazy that there are things that I'm like, yeah, 20 years ago. And he's like, well, yeah, you were just a kid. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, man. I know I was just a kid some odd years ago. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, so do you want me to say 25 years ago? And he's
I was just a kid when Big was coming around, and I mean, fully remember that movie.
And the problem was,
I couldn't quote.
He's like, I couldn't quote that movie.
I couldn't quote the movie because I haven't seen it in a very, very long time. But yeah, I mean, Big was.
Well, I remember
Huge movie.
Freaky Friday and things like that. What was it, 13 going on 30? Things like that. I mean, the Atom Project's kind of a newer one, but Hot Top Time Machine, that came out, 10, 15-ish years ago, maybe? I don't know. I can't really remember exactly when it came out. But the point we're trying to make is that, with these movies in general, it's just, imagine if you could just jump into, whether it was your, I don't know if I would say my parents. I don't know if I would say my parents, but, imagine if you could just, go back to your younger self. Or, in this case, if you were a kid and, jumping into your older self, and then you're like, ugh, what am I doing? I gotta go through puberty again?
Well, I mean, that was the whole thing with Big, and I think, the biggest thing is you could, the big thing
here.
It's almost like Pee Wee Herman, the word of the day is big.
Anyway.
No, but I think all of the movies that we're talking about within this, chronological hangover episode is the fear of losing control of your own life, right? It's like that. All of a sudden you were 12 or 13 and now you're an adult, or you've gone back to the 80s in a hot tub, the Atom Project is a little bit different where he goes back in the past. I mean, we have movies that are like that. I mean, we could also, mention
the Terminator,
12 Monkeys, Terminator. I mean, there are so many of these movies that, you're going back and having to figure out what did I do wrong, right?
That's true.
Or what the heck is the problem? Why can't I go back? So
or what was the other TV show we talked about recently?
Which one? Oh, well, I mean, if you're talking Quantum Leap.
Well, I mean, technically they were going. Most of it was in the past.
Yeah, most of it was in the past. Yeah,
the same.
But I think a lot. I think most, if not all, of these films are not really about the time travel mechanics. I mean, sometimes, Big and 13 going on 30 is not really about time travel. It's more like body swap, but it's that alternate reality. So it's not necessarily the mechanics and the science behind time travel or alternate realities. It's really just about the terror and the fear of, holy shit, now I'm different.
What is going on with my life?
Or where the hell am I right now?
Well, I mean, technically in that movie, 13 going on 30, I mean, it was she gets knocked out, whatever, and then she wakes up in her, future self in a sense, like seeing where she's at with her, job, career, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like Freaky Friday, I mean, it was happening in the same moment. That was just a complete body swap with, each other. So it's like, depending on which
Yeah, I
way
mean,
you look at
you
it.
still have that, alternate reality concept where it's not, about timelines or alternate universes. It's really just for Freaky Friday, it was the mom and the daughter trying to live their life as the other.
True. Like again, in the current day. So, I mean, at least
Yeah.
it's not like Sliders where you don't know where you're going.
Right. But it is, wrong age, wrong decade, wrong life, the wrong version of you. You kind of like, why do audiences love these stories? Because I think that they show real anxieties. Did I waste my 20s? Who would I be if I made different choices? That you can also kind of, I guess, well, even though it's more of a dream, but Christmas Carol is kind of the same idea where you're seeing your past and you're seeing who you were and who, when you
Well,
go into the future, you're seeing how everybody else around you has dealt with the things that you were doing when you were alive.
well, I feel like with Ebenezer's of Scrooge in that sense, I mean, that would suck if you had to have a dream at like 65. We'll say 65 to like 75 years old, and then be like, oh shit, maybe I should change my life around. And then be like, oh, hey, here you go. Here's money. Here's this. Here's that. I mean, I know it's a little extreme, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, that would think about that for a second. Imagine like if you were just sitting in a nursing home and you're like, oh, I got to have a dream now. And then let's see where my life could have been. And then you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be, I don't know, a
I
little
know, one of
counterintuitive.
the question, I mean, this question right here, I'm going to rephrase this question, but it's kind of like, what if my past self met me right now? How would my past self view me?
I'll say something real quick, man. So this one, I
probably would say nice beard, but I mean, that's.
Oh, is that what he was saying? He'd be like,
oh,
hey,
nice beard, bro.
Nice beard, bro. Thanks for keeping it up, bro. He's like, maybe you should shave your head. No,
I don't think he would say that.
Yeah, okay. No, I mean, I'll admit. I mean, if I talk to my we'll call it 18-year-old self, because I was thinking like high school. I would say that if he met me now, he'd probably go, "Is that really what you did? Is that like the choices you made? This and that." I mean, I feel like
at the you really let yourself go.
Wow. He'd be like, wow, you were a little big there, boy. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to hear shit. I said, you get to change this if you want to. No, but like, I'd be like, listen, man, I'm like, if I would give myself like little tidbits. I'd be like, I wouldn't say everything because I would be like, I don't want to change everything. I'd be like, listen, start working out. Don't be a shithead. Don't do some of these things because I'm like, if you want to make a career, because even at 18, I was like, I didn't even know whether they wanted to join the military. I didn't. I really was just kind of like figuring out life. I went to school. I'm like, I'd say like, yeah, stay in school. If I were you, stay in school. Don't take a fucking break. Just get through this bullshit because the older you get, the worse it's going to be. But, like I could imagine certain things, but like at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I mean, he'd probably say certain things and I'd be like, well, guess what? We're him. Okay. We're each other. Like at this point, you know what? You made choices. I have now made choices. You may not agree with some of these choices, but here we are. This is what our life is. And so, maybe you should guys, like think about that for a second, like what if my past self, met me now and like, would they hate you or would they, appreciate what you've become? That's something maybe you should ask yourselves. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's
one
a
of those
hypothetical question, but it's one of those things of like, wow. I mean, I truly don't know. I would think that my past self would be like,
nice beard, bro.
Cool. But at the same time, yeah, there would be like, why you kind of let yourself go. Like,
yeah, you'd be like, hey, you fatty. And you're like, whoa, hey, buddy, you need to chill your shit out, man. You made some choices.
I'm going to whoop your ass.
He's like, listen, I'm a lot more vocal.
I'm going to whoop my own ass.
He's like, I'm a lot more vocal the older I get, okay? So shut the fuck up and get ready. No.
No, but I mean, it's a valid question. But I mean, we have these movies where, if you haven't seen The Adam Project, go watch it because it's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
But it does literally make the adult you confront the kid you. And that's the premise of that question. I mean, he meets his younger self, and I mean, in the immediate, when he first meets him, he doesn't realize.
No, he has no idea.
But when he learns it, it's like, oh shit! Like,
he's like, wait, I'm you and you're me, and you're like, yep, yeah, kid, This is real.
And of course, it is Ryan Reynolds, so there's comedy, but there's also that existential dread in that one package of that movie. But we also have Big going on, and 13 going on 30, which weaponize nostalgia. Like I think as kids, I definitely can say this at least with Big, because I did see 13 going on 30, but it's obviously not my type of movie.
No, I get what you're saying.
But it's that idea of like, man, I wish I was an adult. Right? Like that's the idea of those two movies. It was like, as kids, you kind of like, I wish I was an adult. And then once it happens, it's like, no, shit, fuck this. I want to be a kid again.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe if I was a kid and then just had adult money. How about that? It's like,
Hey.
then that would be a different story.
Yeah, it's just that idea of like, when you're a kid, you're like, man, I can't do this, I can't do that because it's only adults can do that. It's like, man, I wish I had the freedom of being an adult without being an adult, but that's not like what those movies are about. It literally puts them into adulthood, and now you're like, hey, good luck. You're 12, you don't know shit, right?
Good luck figuring this shit out.
Good luck, and that's the real comedy of these movies. If these movies were like dramas or serious movies, I don't think they would have hit the same way.
So think about it like this, man. I mean, especially with these movies, I can imagine even my, we'll call it like middle school years. Like if we're talking like 13 going on 30 here or even Big. I mean, it doesn't matter which one, but I do remember like, wanting to be, like you said, like having those moments of like, oh yeah, I wish I was an adult because I could do this, I could do that. Now, granted, I was in Spain. Right. And so like there were certain things that, Americans couldn't do. So like, for example, you go to a bar, in Spain or any European country. I mean, technically, as long as you're over the height limit of the bar, you're allowed to drink. Right. So technically my dad wanted to try it out. I mean, he was like, hey, go ask them for 2 cervezas or 2 beers. And I was like, yeah, sure. Hey, 2 cervezas for, at 12 years old, I'm doing this. Okay. Like, okay. And they give me the beer and he's like, hey, you want a sip? I'm like, no, I don't want a sip. You know what I mean? Like, he was just like, well, you sure? Because it's legal here. You know what I mean? And it was just weird. But like,
right.
I guess it's one of those things, like it depends on where you're, what you're doing, your environment, things like that. But I mean, I feel like as a kid, you're seeing what adults do. And then you're like, you're not understanding the consequences, right? You're just understanding what you see in the moment. And you're not seeing the full picture.
It's the you're seeing it from the outside as a kid, and you're like, man, I wish I can do what adults do. And then as soon as you're an adult, like you realize like,
I wish this wasn't the case.
I have to get a job, I have to get bills, like I have to find a place to stay. It's like there's more involved in being an adult that we obviously that we know now.
We definitely know now.
But yeah, I mean it's the connection, I guess, if I can, John.
Oh, here we go.
Imagine waking up in an era before the podcast.
Uh-oh.
Before the merch, before everything.
Oh, no. What's that last?
Before my beard reached its final form.
Oh. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say one thing. I have seen a photo of Matt with literally no facial hair. Maybe just a little stubble. But he had, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he had a little bit of a mutton chop going. But there was nothing else, like no mustache, no beard part of it, no nothing. Like it was straight up that.
It's pretty embarrassing.
Oh, see, he says that, and and then he's like, "I'll never want to do that again." And how old were you when you did that, roughly?
I mean, I was an adult.
Well, no shit, you were an adult. I mean, you had to be in your probably what, like late 20s, early 30s, maybe.
I mean, probably early to mid 20s.
Early to mid
20s. when I first met. I mean, when I was first dating Danielle, I was working at McDonald's, so I only had a mustache.
I don't see, and that's the thing. I don't think there was too many photos of it. I do remember a photo of you that Danielle showed me. I think it was like really, really early on. I think it was around the time that you guys were dating at that time. But like, no, it was the.
Well, that's because I think I shaved it for barf. That's
what it was.
Yeah,
that was the photo.
I shaved my face for barf, except for the soul patch.
See, that's what it was.
Yeah.
See, didn't you have like a little mutton chop or something, like a little sideburns or something?
Just sideburns.
Okay. Well, I knew you had a little bit, but not enough to like what you have now, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
But I mean, the question still is valid. I mean, I can remember before the podcast. I mean, we've only been doing this 3 years.
Of course, I can remember the same things too. I mean, he's like, "Yeah, you were babyface," and I'm like, "Actually, no, I was babyface."
But it
when
was
we first met. But yes,
I guess the thing is, like, imagine that time before we did the podcast, and me not having this idea of doing a podcast. Like, I have no idea where our lives would have.
well, I can tell you, our friendship would have been dead, or at least I wouldn't say dead, but it wouldn't be as strong-ish, right? I would say ish, right? Because he's like, "Well, we haven't hung out in a while." Yes, I know. It also sucks that sometimes it's hard to figure out. Sometimes that's the only thing. But yes, for the most part, we are trying to hang out more and trying to do other things. That's why I've been trying to do that.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, shit up."
So let's talk body swaps.
Oh, here we go.
This is like the Freaky Friday, big 13 going on 30. Obviously, these movies are, Wrong Body, Hangover, and inherently they're just ridiculous in their premise, right? It's the body swap between the mom and the daughter. It's, a 12-year-old kid wishing he was an adult and becomes an adult, and then 13 going on 30 is, I mean, you're kind of in your future you, right? Where you're actually living, she's living her life as like this 30-year-old, I believe it was a CEO, some kind of a businesswoman.
Yeah, she was a successful businesswoman or something like that.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the forced empathy training disguised as chaos, right? It's like the actors themselves are trying to sell somebody else's personality.
I mean, yes, I'll mention this next part because I will admit that yes, with Freaky Friday, right? In the sense of this, when it comes to like the body swapping and the wrong body hangover kind of a deal, yes, Freaky Friday is definitely the goat of this kind of we'll call it genre of movies.
And I get it. Lindsay Lohan, we all know, like, right? But like, their performance in the movie is literally like acting Olympics with what they're doing.
Well, they have to think of like how they would act in that age,
right? And I don't know the new one because I know there is a new one, but I haven't seen the second one. But
I have seen the second one, so I will say from the first one to the second one. I mean, the first one, of course, is like the OG, right? Like you're like, wow, this is great. Second one's a little weird because again, now you're looking at Jamie Lee Curtis as a grandma, right? And you're also looking at Lindsay as now a mom of a daughter, and then she also has her friend. The weird part is in the first movie, it's just the mother and daughter doing this. Now it's the grandmother, the mother, the well, I guess granddaughter / daughter, and then her best friend. All four of them are doing it, and then they all kind of like, so it's like mom and daughter are switching bodies with the daughter and the best friend, and so it's like they both like dually swap. So it's like a 4-way of like body swapping, and it is a little weird, but I mean, it's interesting to see at least Jamie Lee Curtis trying to play like a Gen Zer, kind of like teenager kind of a thing now, and it's just the way she acts and like, and it's kind of weird, man. I'm not gonna lie, because like at one point, I'm pretty sure she almost like gets a boob job or does like something, and then she does something really stupid. But like in the movie, like she's an author and like has like some famous books, so she's just like, what abs, like like kind of like just saying this random Gen Z shit, and then she's like trying to like act like it, but it's I don't know. I think it's funny in its own way, but I still say that the original, Freaky Friday is definitely in my opinion, the better of the two, because it just hits right, and I think like that's the general idea of what a mom and a teenager should be.
Well, I mean, if we break down, the performances, I mean, some obviously not going to break down the entire movie, but I mean, there are certain ways that like Lindsay Lohan, when she becomes the mom,
oh yeah,
like she physically sells that swap when she starts with the mom walk. We all know the mom walk.
Oh yes,
right?
We all know.
But as Tess, which is the mom's name, she suddenly starts walking upright, very controlled, very stiff. Palms together, steps are measured. It's the opposite of how she was herself as a teen.
Oh, yeah.
and it just screams that like middle-aged woman trying not to twist an ankle, right? Like she just embodies that way that Tess moved in the movie. So it's that's what makes, her performance at least really really good. It sells.
Well, I mean, and then you're looking at Jamie Lee Curtis waking up as a teenager. So again, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis at this point is probably in her 40s, I would say, in this movie. Because by the time, I mean, now she's probably late 60s. Yeah, I'd probably say late 60s or so, or probably early 70s. I don't know. But the point is, like, you're looking at her, at this point, she pops out, in bed with loose, floppy teenage energy, arms everywhere, hair wild, posture sloppy. Her skeleton isn't calibrated, instant teen vibes in her grown body. But, like, you're looking at her and I don't know. She's like, because again, you're seeing her like, she's got, dyed hair. She's like got more nail polish than she needs to have on her fingers. She's trying to again do the same thing like I was talking about in like the second movie, like just trying to oversell this whole teenage vibe thing, at that time. So the millennial kind of thing, and so it's interesting to see her play a role like that, and she does sell it well as this like what would a mom be like if she was waking up as a teenager now, in this, present day. And so like, what was it, Mark Harmon, who plays, I know he's the boyfriend at the time of Tess. But like, she says something and he's like, huh? Yeah, whatevs. Like, and then she like walks away and she's like all, again, just like think of a teenager in that time frame,
Right.
just like doesn't give a shit. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, get out of my face. I'll talk to you later. Ew, like don't kiss me. That weird shit that she's doing. But
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll even say this too, is the guitar performance in that movie, especially with Lindsay.
That was the best example from the movie as far as like the swaps, because it's forcing the mom Tess, who's in the daughter's body, because the daughter had this like I want to say it's like a battle of the bands or like like talent show type thing, and she had to play guitar. Obviously, I don't know if the mom knew how to play guitar before then.
Yeah, probably not.
But it forced her into that high pressure moment that she can't fake it. Like she has to go out there with the guitar and everything, and it blends that comedy and tension where you're like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's like that moment, but the scene is like a real turning point where she's like earning respect and starts understanding like her daughter's world. And I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis just rocks out, like knees bent way too much, wild head bangs, face scrunched in that like rock god intensity. Even though she's in her 40s, it's just the scene is comedy gold when she just goes out there and just lets it all go.
Oh yeah. And then I do remember real quick the boyfriend of Lindsay Lohan. I know he's been around too, but like for whatever reason, just like, well, like gave Tess's character or like Tess, a ride, from I think it was like school or whatever, like trying to pick up Lindsay at the time, and like she's like, oh, you're so cute, like playing it all off and all this stuff, and then she goes, yeah, I have a boyfriend, like, well, and then she's like, and the guy's like, I don't care, where do you want to go, like let's. Come on, let's just get out of here. Like you want me clearly, and she's like, no, get off me. Like in trying to do all this stuff, but like it's funny because then that same character also shows up in the second movie and tries to do similar things like they were doing in the first movie. So it's nice how they, at least in like a movie like this, they do kind of bring some of the past and they kind of make it so that wait, they follow the damn blueprint, man.
Hey,
it's crazy.
It's amazing what happens when you do. Talking about big, it's both has like those awkward, funny moments with Tom Hanks, and it's also kind of that like yikes, like what would actually occur if a 12-year-old became an adult, because that's kind of like the ethical weirdness like that they have in the movie where you have this adult that we know is 12, and mentally is 12.
Right, but as in a 30-year-old man,
he's basically in a 30-year-old meat suit, right? Like, it's weird.
No, it's called a meat suit. Like,
it's weird to say, but yeah, but it's Hollywood in the 80s. I mean, literally, the 80s had no breaks.
Well,
when it came to movies.
Well, think about it, man. I mean, you and I talked about this. I mean, the 80s and 90s, when it came down to like the ratings and stuff like that, they really didn't care, like for the most part. I mean, there was like certain things that you wouldn't say in a movie or a TV show or things like that, but typically they really could not give a shit. Like if half the stuff you watched in the 80s and 90s, like we've said, if you tried to put that on today, more than likely it'll be canceled, or more than likely it would never exactly or just like exist at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it just Big was a different movie, especially. I mean, everything that he did, you can tell was like, yeah, that's exactly when he got the apartment or the room,
yeah,
that he had, the studio. I mean, there was bunk beds and video games and basketball hoop, and I mean, it was literally a kid's home, like dream home.
Yeah.
And he invites this woman that was from The Office.
Oh, right. Yep.
And she's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Like, what are you creepo? Like,
and then it was, it becomes bedtime, and she's like, "Oh, cool, we're gonna,
do some stuff," and he's like, "Yeah."
No, he's like, "I got top bunk," and he
and he jumps up there. That's right. No, and I mean, but you think about it, and even kind of moving on to like 13 going on 30, it's weird because now I mean, almost identical, but in the sense like you're talking about, I can't remember her name. It's the main actor or actress in the movie. Like what I'm talking about. I'm just Jennifer Garner. Sorry, I had to think about that. So like, again, like what happens in this, it's like, they're in the, 7 minutes of heaven, in that closet. And then like for some weird reason, it's like I think she trips or she like knocks herself out. And like all of a sudden she gets basically brought into the future, because now you're discovering that, your future, becomes this kind of like awful person, and it's just weird because now you're seeing yourself in the future. You're wondering what's going on. And then like you start to like, she's trying to figure out what exactly happened. And like, I think her best friend, it like becomes like she falls in love with him. And then like, she's married to this other dude. And she's like, I think she wakes up and like, she sees her husband that she has no idea and was butt ass naked. And she goes, "Ew, what are you doing here? Who are you?" Like just like, again, like if you're a 13-year-old trying to like,
right.
Just to, like, you're hello, and you're like, "I'm your husband," and she's like, "No, you're not. Who are you?" And like tries to like rationalize everything. I mean, again, when you're having that mentality as a kid, again, you don't know basically anything about, yeah, I'll say it, sex and everything else that kind of goes involved with being married and so on and so forth. There, and so like for her sake, she's thrown into it, and I think she has a kid, right? I think in the movie. I don't know if I can't remember if she does or doesn't, but but she's like finding out, like she's very playful, just like in this case with Tom Hanks's character. Like she's like, "Oh yeah, let's just go get a makeover," and like do what she would do in the 80s, and she dressed up as it, and so like it's just again you're looking at a movie or movies that you're taking this kid mentality and you're trying to bring it into adulthood, and then you're realizing that you're like, no, I want to be a kid again. Because now you've already missed out on, in this case, 17 years,
Right.
of like
Yeah.
not knowing of what the hell's going on. And so, for us, I mean, I couldn't even like I can't even. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I really had that whole 13 and going on 30 moment, I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? Like I would be like, no, man. Like what happened to this to that? Well, this is what happened, and then it's like somebody explains to you, and you're like, no, that's not true. No, get out of my face. Like you don't want to hear that. Like I feel like you'd want to try to enjoy it.
I mean, a lot of it too, I think, is that hypothetical. Because I mean, honestly, if you're 13 and all of a sudden you wake up as a 30-year-old, I mean, sure, in the movie she was like what like some kind of a fashion designer or something. If I recall. But like she could have woke up to herself in like being a squatter using drugs, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it could have been all sorts of things, yeah,
all sorts of things. But I mean, it just so happens that was the, the image that she had to live with and deal with, and figure out like what the hell's going on. But that's the emotional backbone. Like it's that discovering the future you is kind of just an awful person, right? But these movies only work when actors are fully committed to the physical and emotional they call it mimicry, but it's like mimicking like what they would
mimicry.
be
Yeah.
if they were an adult. And some examples that I have here, you probably haven't seen the show Interview with a Vampire.
No, that one I have not seen. No,
but there's an episode in season 2 where Lestat
well, technically this is a movie. I know that it was a couple different.
It's a movie, but they made a show on I believe AMC.
Okay.
But there's a scene where Lestat has already died, and I'll use quotes on that because he's not technically dead right now, but Louis believes that they've killed him in this scene. But Lestat mimics Louis' speech patterns, his posture, and emotional cadence while existing in his mind. So even like without that literal body swap, you have these two actors who are their performance literally sells that illusion when, and I don't recall the actor's name that plays Lestat, but he does a tremendous job acting like Louis, like that guy's like that character. Just in that, like I said, in the way that he speaks, how he's holding his posture, and that emotional cadence of how he's talking is different than how he is normally. So that's kind of the other thing. And the second one that I have is the Joker interrogation scene.
Yeah, we're talking about Batman. Like we're talking about the Dark Knight Rises and like that series of it.
Yes.
Okay.
But the Joker in the scene is subtly mirroring Bruce Wayne's like stillness, his pacing, and that emotional strength during the interrogation. And he matches his intensity beat for beat. So he's not copying the behavior for comedy. He's just literally inhabiting that psychological space that Batman has to dominate the scene.
I mean, so in this case, especially like a movie like this, right? So when you're already playing, and we've talked about this before, but when Heath Ledger plays the Joker and he's trying to become him in the sense of that, I mean, when you're talking psychological already, and you're already having to prepare a role for that, and then now you're basically mimicking, Batman and like his way of doing things. I mean, that takes a lot of patience. That takes a lot of like effort in that part. I mean, think about it like this. I mean, think about mimicry in general. I mean, there's so many, comedians. There's so many, people that do impressions and stuff. And I mean, it takes like you have to. It's almost like you're studying film, because you're watching them and you have to know. So I always think of that. One guy, I think his name's Matt something. He does like an impression of Jeff Goldblum, and he does like a few others and stuff.
Oh yeah. No,
you know what I'm talking about? So like he does Jeff Goldblum's character so damn well that if you heard them on the mic together, I think you wouldn't be able to tell who's who. Or like he does a Donald Trump, impression and things like that. I mean, they have that gift. And I mean, it's hard to, do basically what the original person was doing. Like if you and I were trying to mimic, let's say Mark Hamill's Joker, I could tell you right now, there's no way in fucking hell that I could mimic his character or the way he did it in the show. There's no way.
Right.
Very few people can do certain things like that. I mean, there are certain people that, are easy to mimic in some ways. Like, like I always joke like a Robert De Niro impression or like, or like, Christopher Walken or, some of those ones that are kind of, easy to kind of do a little bit here and there. But like, there are just some that you can try all you want. Very, very few people can actually do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. I mean, obviously the way that the Joker is doing it, it's subtle. It's not like he's doing like you can see like, oh, he's copying the Batman. Like, no, like he's doing it so subtly that it's just that like he's taking what Batman is giving him and he's just matching it beat for beat. And that's in that movie. Yeah. I mean, Heath Ledger just did a tremendous job mimicking that, because if you throw another actor in there, he's probably going full Joker.
Oh yeah,
and we know full Joker is just chaos. And
again, we're talking about a psychological state that he was constantly in, and especially in a movie like this. And then again, like I said, when you're copying now Bruce Wayne, or in the sense of Batman, because you're already in Joker's state of mind, now you're also mimicking someone else's that is just intense and serious all the time. And totally the opposite of what Joker is. I mean, I don't know. That's just to me. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to look at. But yes, now this one, Matt.
This one I don't like at all.
Oh no. See, this is where I feel like this gets interesting. So here we go. So this is where we're gonna go here. Ready? Imagine if Matt and John swap bodies. Let's say Matt wakes up without a beard. Well, okay, maybe not as long as a beard. Sorry, and then John wakes up writing deadlines and multiverse lore spreadsheets. Panic ensues. Let me put it this way, Matt. I think what would happen is you'd be like, "Who the hell am I sleeping next to?" And then he would be like, "Oh shit, I have a kid. What?" You're like, wait a minute. Oh, I gotta change oh damn it, I gotta change a diaper. And then you'd be like, okay, well, I gotta get to work. And then you start going to CMC, and then you're like, anyway, what the fuck am I doing here right now? What? And then you look in the mirror and you go, ah, fuck. And then I wake up and then I'm like, the fuck? And I'm like touching my face, and I'm like, I have a beard or a longer beard? What's going on here? And I go in the mirror and I'm like, oh, fuck. And then we both go, what the fuck happened last night, man? And then he's like, well, are we gonna do like a whole like Freaky Friday thing and be like, we have to go meet like a Chinese, or like an Asian woman and be like, can you help us change us back? Because we don't want to be in each other's bodies anymore. He's like, well, you got to run the deadlines, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I would not feel comfortable. Obviously, like waking up, like, oh, what the fuck? Where the hell am I?
Wyatt? What the fuck? And then, of course, Wyatt's like, you're not my dad. Well, I mean, I kind of am, but just not really in some ways. And then I'd be like, oh boy. And I'd be like, oh great, I gotta deal with all this shit now. I'm like, okay, all right, what can I help with, Matt? Let's see. Okay, well, I guess we could start throwing away some shit. I was like, we could start. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, don't worry about it. He's like, hey, bud, I actually just threw away a lot of this shit.
Why does my body hurt so much?
Like, God damn. Fuck, my back's hurting. My everything's hurting. What's going on here? And then Matt's like, wow. Okay. I mean, he's got a little bit of pain, but that's not too bad. He's like, and scene.
And that's it.
And that's the movie. Anyways. But let's get into our next segment.
Yes. What if, but stupid.
What if?
But stupid.
Yeah, this is what if, but stupid. And we have a God level Freaky Friday, but with probably a lot more trauma.
So this one I was a little surprised that Matt came up with. I mean, well, let's just say little ChatGPT kind of helped him come up with this, but it took a little bit of time to figure this one out. But I honestly, when he told me this one, I was like, I would love to see either a movie or like a random DLC point, because I feel like in this at least in this, because like I can always think of like with the Norse mythology kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like it can somewhat happen. Like in that weird thing.
It could happen. It's still stupid, but it certainly is not out of the, imagination, I guess, if you will.
Imagination.
But we'll get into it. It's what if Kratos and Atreus swapped bodies,
but now with trauma.
So the setup here is like I don't know why it says Tuesday, but it's one random Tuesday. I don't know if they used.
I don't think they cared about.
I don't think they cared about the days, but hey, one random Tuesday in the Nine Realms, Kratos and Atreus accidentally activate some cursed Norse artifact labeled "Do not touch puberty of the gods."
Now Kratos is probably like, whatever. I don't really know what that means, but sure, I'm already whatever.
So lightning flashes, ravens scream, boom, they swap bodies.
So imagine this, right? So Kratos wakes up at Atreus' teenage body. He inhales. Prepares a legendary Spartan war cry. Rah! Voice crack. Ah! Just silence. And then Kratos clutches his throat like he's been stabbed.
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, he wouldn't be boy. He'd be boy. Boy. Why does my voice betray me?
Meanwhile, Atreus wakes up in Kratos' mountain-sized dad body. He flexes once. A nearby tree disintegrates into dust. A bird explodes mid-flight. Atreus stares at his arms.
Father.
Father.
I think I accidentally benched the forest.
Father. I love it.
Father.
Father. Boy.
Boy.
And then, Kratos tries to walk. Okay. He trips over his own skinny legs. He falls down some stairs, gets mad at gravity. This body is built like a wet breadstick.
That's a great line.
And then he tries to throw the Leviathan axe. It spins once, travels 3 feet. He hits a rock, falls over dramatically. The axe just lies there, ashamed. Kratos whispers,
I have failed you. All right, so this is where it gets really stupid. Okay, Atreus is now in full God of War dad mode because he's in Kratos' body, obviously, and immediately loses all impulse control. So he arm wrestles Thor and wins by accident. He sneezes and causes an avalanche. He pats Kratos on the back and launches him into next week. Atreus and Kratos, fully intoxicated on dad's strength. Is this what you feel like all the time? Everything is so breakable.
And then, of course, Kratos and Atreus, tries to discipline him, but just sounds like a grounding threat TikTok apology. Boy, you must learn restraint. And also, I'm very confused about my emotions. You're like, wait, why does he sound so high? Well, he's a teenager.
Well, yeah. I mean, so Kratos and Atreus sees a squirrel drop an acorn, a baby wolf trip, a leaf fall off a tree. He collapses, full sobbing, snot, hyperventilating. Why is this world so cruel to small things?
Hold on. I really like your impression of this. Why is the world so cruel to small things? It's just you trying to get to a higher voice.
Yeah.
I know.
It doesn't work.
I know it doesn't.
But Atreus and Kratos panicking. Father, please stop crying in my chest.
Father. Kratos wipes his face. The wind spoke to me, and it was mean.
Gosh.
And then, of course, Atreus, drunk on godhood, declares,
I will solve this conflict with flexing.
He punches the ground, creates a crater visible from another realm. Mimir screams from his belt. Lads, I don't know if I can do this one. I feel like maybe you should try.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know how
I'll give it. You know what? Screw it. I'll give it a shot. Lads, one of you is a child and the other is having feelings. Fix this now. I tried, man. I because Mimir has this. It's not quite Scottish, and I know it's weird, but he's not. It's not Norwegian, so it's very like a. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe somebody in our island viewers and Scottish, maybe they can help us out.
Well, the island viewers, huh?
The island.
Oh,
The island.
the island.
Anyways, Mimir finally yells, "Just hit the Dom tree or reset." Or sorry, just hit the Dom reset rune. You emotional idiots! Flash, thunder, body switch back. Kratos stands silently. Atreus stands silently. Long pause. Atreus. Father,
I punched a hole in the moon.
Boy,
Yes.
we never speak of this. Mimir immediately. Too late. The Ravens already made shirts. Cut to black.
And cut the black.
Oh, God. I mean, if you could make, like I said, if this was like a DLC or something like that, I mean, it could be a cool little DLC moment. I mean, I feel like you could make it a lot longer than just like this kind of thing. But like, you could definitely have like weird adventures that both of them have that you can kind of play as one, but they do sound like that. Boy.
hey, Father,
Father.
I accidentally punched a hole in the moon.
And somebody could see it from the sky below.
This body is built like a wet breadstick. That's like the best line.
Boy.
Boy,
Imagine if he.
you must learn restraint. Also, I'm very confused about my emotions.
See,
I don't know. I don't
you
know why.
just sound, hold on a second.
I don't know why I sound like a poor English
No,
kid.
see, that's what I was gonna say. Either that, or you sound like Dobby from fucking Harry Potter. Boy,
You must learn restraint.
right now, boy.
Father.
Oh boy! All right. Let's
Oh boy, is he? There we go.
So that was our stupid what if but stupid segment.
Wait, stupid. Well, what if?
It's a stupid what if but stupid segment. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Anyways, then we go into this accidental time travel and the wrong timeline chaos. So in this case, we're going to be talking about Hot Tub Time Machine and the Atom Project.
Yes. this is obviously the wrong year Hangover, and it's Chaos Gold. I think Hot Tub Time Machine sets the tone.
Well, especially, we're not going to go into too much detail, but let's just say in our little bit down the road, there might be something, maybe like a parody of particularly this movie.
Yes.
But we'll explain later on. But anyways, yes, Hot Tub Time Machine, though. This is a crazy ass movie because, one, you got all these random actors that, I mean, they do well. Don't get me wrong. It's weird because, of course, one of them decides to literally invent their own version of Google. Okay.
Yes.
Which I believe is
Lugal.
Right. And then a few of them, like, they change certain things to, like, make themselves, like, basically more successful. Right. So, like, again, Lugal is one of them. But, like, you know, they're trying to, like, in this case, they're trying to figure out, like, at least with Lou in this case, he doesn't realize, I mean, yes, spoiler alert. He doesn't realize that one of the guys that's with him, he accidentally realizes that it's actually his son. Because at the time he's like, huh? Wait, father? You know, they have this like weird moment, and then like, you fucking bastard, you know, and they're just like, well, I didn't fucking know who she was.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just kind of weird because like you're watching the movie, it is funny and it's got its humor and stuff, but then it's like, you know, like really, like if you think about like kind of the bigger picture, what would you like? Because there's like, what would you change? Because then you have to think, does the butterfly effect really exist?
Well, I mean, in this movie, it does obviously because he rewrites history, creating Lugal instead of Google.
No, I know,
You know
but
what I
like,
mean? So I mean,
we've talked about it. We have talked about this before, but like,
but I mean, that's I think what's so good about this. It's not about like the physics or how things work, and it's not necessarily like that they're thinking about. Oh, if I change this, it's gonna change like
yeah, all these other
you know,
casts and these
10 things in the future. No, I mean, one, they don't even question time travel in the movie. They just like, oh, we're back in the 80s. Like,
yeah, because all of them remember like it was like a ski lodge. I think this is where they showed up and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
but
But
they
yeah.
just accept it. Like, it's like, oh, this is just Tuesday. You know, it's just, and then, you know, in the movie, yes, they're trying to figure out like how to get back, but they're also like dealing with the stuff that's going on with their own lives in that moment. But it's time travel literally caused by alcohol and chlorine, the mix of alcohol and chlorine. Like, it's probably the most honest plot device like used in a movie, where you're not really explaining like how does the hot tub work, like what are the physics behind. No, fuck it.
They're just like, let's just do it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
just them partying with a lot of alcohol mixing with the chlorine. It fucks everything up, and boom, they're in the past. It's like, oh, okay.
Sure, we don't question anything because
Yeah.
that's how time travel works, apparently. No, and I mean, you know, like I said, you know, when you're talking about in this case, you know, like we've just mentioned, like, you know, Lou rewriting history for selfish reasons, you know, creating Lugal, you know, is time travel done right? You know, in this case, you know, yes, the butterfly effect has a, you know, a petty vengeance in this case because then they realize certain things were gonna, you know, affect them in the future. Because I'm pretty sure, even though he's successful, I think he gets like bankrupt and he's like all this other crap, and then like, I think at that point you're like, you know, was it well worth it? You know, like, is it worth the reward to do it?
I
in that
haven't
moment?
I haven't seen the second one, but you know there's a second one.
Is there a second one?
Yeah.
When did that come out?
I'm not sure.
Oh man,
I want to say like maybe 2019 or something like that.
oh, that's probably why. It was right before COVID. They're like, yeah, let's just do it.
But there is a second one. I haven't seen it.
Oh, maybe
it,
I'll have to
it
watch
obviously can't be as good as
No.
as the first one was. But if you compare Hot Tub Time Machine to The Atom Project, it approaches the same trope, but more on a serious level because it uses that timeline displacement to explore trauma, regret, parent issues, and realistically, like a version of yourself that you'd cringe at if you met them.
Wait. Are you using a Gen Z term? Cringe?
Cringe?
I don't know. Is it?
Well, it's not cinema, John.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. You know,
I don't know what any of that means, but
He's like, I don't know. We'll just go with it.
Yeah.
No, but like, I agree with you, right? So like, when you're looking at this, right? So the emotional punch, of like, you know, breaking down this, right? So like, young Adam calls out everything older Adam became, the cynicism, the nihilism, the emotional shutdown. It's like time travel psychotherapy. Like, when you are watching this movie, though, you have to kind of come at it in a different angle because, at first you're watching, basically, yes, you're, his younger self. And then all of a sudden, older Adam comes out of nowhere. And then he's like basically being chased by like these like futuristic time travel cops in a sense. And they're like trying to assassinate him because he's screwed up in the future. And of course, he was one of them and all this other crap. But like, he's like, well, mom and dad, like, shut up about mom and dad. Like, he's literally like telling himself, like, you have no idea, like you don't understand, the bullshit that I had to go through, through all this time. He's like, well, and he's like, yeah, just you wait and see what.
So yeah, I mean, the whole premise of this is that Ryan Reynolds, obviously, yes, he's playing the title character, and in the movie, he is a fighter pilot.
Oh, I say I
who he steals a time jet and lands in 2022.
So I do remember him being a pilot. I thought he was one of them too originally.
Well, this just says he's a fighter pilot.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he steals the time jet, and he encounters his 12-year-old self, who's been dealing with the loss of his father, who is Mark Ruffalo, the year before, and must work together to prevent the assassination of his wife and stop the leader from his timeline from monopolizing time travel. That's the premise of the movie.
Yes, and I know, like I said, I mean, when you're looking at Ryan Reynolds' character, and you're, like I said, the younger Adam. I mean, it is weird that like he's treating him basically, it's like, just shut up, kid. Like, just don't talk to me. You don't want to know anything about the future. I'm just trying to get through this so I can get back home and we can restore whatever it is. Because he was explaining, he's like, yeah, I can't see, dad. Like once they get to that point, like I can't do all this because, God forbid, like it screws up my timeline and all this other stuff. And so like, at least it kind of shows that whole butterfly effect, in that sense, because it does show you that kind of seriousness, but also the, the genuine consequences, where a lot of these other movies didn't really, focus on it. They didn't really like talk too much about it. But like, when you're looking at, Hot Tub Time Machine, reality breaking stupidity, right? And then you're looking at the Adam Project, this whole self-reflection wrapped in a sci-fi action, and there's just, again, two totally different, outcomes, two totally different things going on here, but, both are wrong timeline stories, but again, they're just, in this case, they're just treated differently. They're not really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Adam Project's not, I mean, there is comedy involved in it, but it's more of like a serious sci-fi fantasy type thing. Where Hot Tub Time Machine is literally just your raunchy comedy movie. It really doesn't have to make sense because it's not about the science of it. It's just about the comedy of it.
Right.
So it's the fact that they went back in the 80s and you're seeing, I mean, they went full 80s in this like ski lodge with the colors and the haircuts. And
oh yeah,
I mean,
it was. I mean,
it was full 80s, and it just was. I mean, it was nostalgia when you're looking at like. I mean, they had like Walkmans and things like in the 80s, and they're like, what the hell is this? Like,
like, I haven't seen this in years, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, it's obviously like different. But it's, like I said before, I mean, why some of these work and why others faceplant, you're really looking at like the good chronological Hangover movie just has simple rules, right? It's not realistic, just consistent. I mean, imagine if these movies didn't have that consistency in them, because there's many other movies that fall into these categories, and you're like, what the hell is going on in this movie?
Well, okay, so like when we've talked about, like I said, like the Terminator or Sliders, or I mean, granted, I know they're totally different in that sense. If we're talking about time travel and sliding to different dimensions or whatever the case is, right? It's the reason why some of these movies. In this case, they make sense, like the Terminator and, shit, the one we just talked about, everything, all, what? Just say it, man.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
There you go. Thank you. Like, those movies make sense because they, again, when you're talking about time travel and, in Terminator, like it has to make that sense. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Thank you. Like that doesn't really make any sense, but like, again, it's talking about different dimensions, this and that, whatever. But, when you're looking at all this stuff, no, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be correct. It could be the weirdest fucking thing on the planet, but at least if it doesn't, in this case, contradict itself, right? So, like, again, in Freakier Friday, when they're using the fortune cookie, magic, I mean, it's weird to think about that. You're just like, okay, let's open up a fortune cookie. All of a sudden, this like wind just comes out of nowhere and like, okay. And then they wake up the next day as like, mom is daughter, daughter is mom. And that's it. And then they have to figure out what the hell just happened, and then like going up to, oh, I didn't realize this. Okay. So bad movie overs, they explain the magic or ignore the rules, the change up. Yeah. So like guilty of both, with Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman, their, emotional core, versus the plot mechanics. They just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it just a lot of it was. I mean, with the change up, you had that idea of the characters swapped bodies, but it was really just confusing and non-consistent because one, the script really sucked.
Yes.
The acting was inconsistent. I mean, when you go from the characters and their significant others and everything, well, one character was a bachelor, but that's beyond the point. But anyways, it was like the magic didn't quite make sense because it wasn't consistent throughout the whole movie. Like it wasn't just as simple as like falling asleep. Like there was something, but it wasn't communicated in the movie the right way. So the mechanics of it just didn't work. And that's really like what we're talking about because when you look at Freaky Friday, when you look at Big and you look at 13 going on 30, those movies worked because the movie never contradicted itself. Right? Like the way that they changed and the way that they went back were the same. Same thing with Big. It was the same. So that's really kind of like what you're looking at is like they over explain the magic or they ignore their own rules when they change. And it's like, oh no, by the way, there's a secret well that you have to drink from. Like, what?
Where
All of
did
a
the
sudden
secret
now
well?
there's a secret well.
What the hell?
What the hell? What the hell?
It's just like the never-ending story. What is this?
Never-ending story. Da, da, da.
He's like, I don't know what we're doing. No.
So, the emotional core, the plot mechanics, like you don't necessarily care. And this, I mean, you can look at the one we just talked about, which is how bad movies and good movies, have those simple rules where it's consistent, but you don't necessarily care how the swap happens. What you care about is how the characters, like how they react to the change and the change that they go throughout the process and who they become kind of at the end. Like that's really the emotional core of what we're looking at with these movies. And there's a lot of them that just don't have that same emotional core. Like sure, the characters change, but like in the change up, the plot was really dumb.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't, it wasn't well written. So when you don't care about who the characters become, what do you have at the end of the movie?
Pile of shit. I mean, that's the best way to describe it because again, they just don't want to follow at least the simple blue plan or blue plan.
Blue plan.
The blue plan. No, the blueprint. I mean,
it's like that scene in Jurassic Park when Jeff Goldblum's character walks up to that huge pile of shit. He's like, "That's a big pile of shit."
You're like, "Hey, thank you, Captain Obvious." It's like no, but I mean, you're right though. I mean, when you're talking about cinema, like films and stuff like that, or even TV shows. I mean, it doesn't matter between the two. I just, when you're given a script, and especially like I feel like you and I can agree, Matt, like music. I don't know why I was about to say music. Movies and in TV shows, they really don't. It's like they're given a budget and they're like, okay, go nuts, and then it's like, okay, cool. So you do all this stuff, and you're like, oh, we have to have some fight scenes. We got to make it, maybe some action, maybe some comedy, maybe some romance, blah, 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 and they do all this shit, and then nothing makes sense. And it has nothing to do with the story. They just put random shit together, and they're like, okay, well, so here's your $400 million budget that just was a waste of fucking time that nobody's going to watch because what am I going to do? Like, why am I going to sit there and watch a movie and then be like, what the fuck was that? Like, just like I did, like, just hit that, the boom arm. But like,
kind of like,
what am I doing here?
kind of like what I was saying at the last episode in the volume 2 of Stranger Things, because there was a scene in that, and both Danielle and I were like, "What?"
What?
Like, I'm not gonna say, because if you haven't seen the episode, it's just one of those things where one of the character is explaining, like, with between him and Vecna, and what Vecna was trying to bring to light, and you're like, "Oh, this must be like a profound thing," and all of a sudden he says it, and it's like, "Oh, that's it." I mean, it's sort of like the equivalent of, like, I had tuna on Friday. Like, big fucking deal. Like, I was expecting there to be, like, I murdered somebody, or, I'm not who I'm supposed to be. Like, no, it was just like, he blurted it out, and it's like, that's fucking it.
No, you know what he should have said? He's like, "Hey, that's a big pile of shit over there," or something
But
stupid like that.
that's exactly the exact phrase that came out of my mouth as soon as he said it, and I was like, that's it. Like, I was expecting something profound, and it was like,
Well, I mean,
well, that's a pile of shit right there. Like,
so how many seasons I forgot in Stranger Things right now? Technically, I know it's volumes, but like how many? Roughly?
5.
5. I mean, for especially a TV show that I know has gone on to do really well, and especially with like the character development and all this stuff, like it's been doing really well. To then throw something like that in, or it'd be like when you're watching Halo and you're like,
I'm
Did
not
that
going to
motherfucker just
I'm not
take
going to
off that
reveal what he said, because
no, I get that.
it's going to be like one of those things like, well, you just hate these type of people. And I don't hate any people, but in a show like Stranger Things, I would expect something more profound to be said in that moment of Vecna's going to reveal something about you, and it's going to affect all of your friendships, and basically how their future pans out.
Mm.
Like, because that was what Vecna was showing him. Like, he reveals it, and then everybody just kind of splits and goes their own way. And it's like, I was expecting him to say something more profound. Like, that's all I'm saying is, like, it's the same thing for any of these movies. Like, I would expect the characters to be complete, and to, not from the beginning of the movie, but at least at the end, like, understanding each other or coming through something. And it's like, he blurts this out, and it's just, what?
No,
That's bullshit right there.
well-
Like, who cares?
well, you know what? If a random movie was like, they had all this like emotional stuff and be like, yeah, I had tuna on Friday, and then like that was the end of the movie, I'd be like, what the fuck was that all about? You just went through all of this shit, all this.
I mean,
crap.
it really,
You know what I mean? Like it would be random.
The scene really does build up to that. Like, I have to tell you guys something. It's not very comfortable, but you all need to hear it. I had tuna on Friday.
The end.
It's like,
Be like done.
that's not what he says.
Like, no, I understand.
It's more something about him in a more personal matter.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's like, what?
What did you just say?
That's it? Like,
That's all we get.
I think Danielle said it out loud before he said it. And I was kind of like, and whatever, that's not what he's saying. And then he said it, and I was like, what the fuck is this crap? Like,
What do we just watch for the last 5 seasons?
five seasons? Like, who cares? Like, who really cares? I mean, I guess you can say, well, the show's in the 80s, and it was, I don't give a fuck. What I care about is that what he says makes sense to the height of the moment that they're in, and that burst that comes out of his mouth does not match the height of the moment. At the moment, you're like, who the fuck cares? Like, there are other characters that are in a similar position that he says he's in.
He's like, by the way, I know it's gonna sound weird coming from me. I just took a shit in my pants. That'd be like, okay, well, that's something we really didn't need to know, but appreciate you just saying it. But
But that's all I'm saying. But
it's like, what?
we care about the emotional core of the character, sure, and the height of the moment is different, but it really changed how I personally how I viewed the character, because I'm like, well, who the fuck cares? That's what you're worrying about. You're nothing but a pussy then. If that's the thing that you're worrying about, like, I would be worried about much worse things. in that situation.
Sorry, go ahead.
To be honest, like I would worry about much worse situations of like what I did years ago. Not saying that I've like killed somebody or did something that bad, but like
Wait, whoa. No, go ahead.
if you're saying like Vecna's gonna reveal that I had tuna on Friday and I can't take
I
it.
can't fucking do this anymore. You're like, you know what? That I took a shit while I was at it.
I just
too.
don't want you guys to judge me.
I
Like,
just had tuna.
get the fuck out of here with this.
Like, what is this going?
Yeah,
on?
get the fuck out of here with this. No, come on.
This is what I'm saying, man.
Come on.
I mean, it's
It's
just
high stakes. We're in a moment where the world literally will end, and you're like, oh
tuna.
god,
You're
I
like,
can't even. But the stories that we're talking about, which is like Freaky Friday, and we're not talking about Stranger Things, whatever. That's a whole show on a different level. But these stories are metaphors for regret, right? I mean, you wake up, you scramble to fix the damage, and then you appreciate your life more. I mean, that's the hangover, right? The hangover is the lesson.
yeah, and not the actual movie Hangover, because that is not a lesson in itself.
No.
No, and you're right. I mean, right. So when you're taking examples like this, right? So like 13 going on 30, right? So confronting who you turned into, right? Or big, right? Choosing that childhood over the illusion of fast-tracked adulthood. And then like again, finally, right here, the Adam Project, facing the parts of yourself that you've avoided. I mean, at least these movies can give you some sort of example on hopefully what not to do. You know, hopefully, right? Because we always talk about evolve, right? We always say try to be the best version of yourself. Well, these examples of these movies, even though yes, they don't, science-wise matter in this case, they're showing you like, hey, guess what? It's okay to wait. You don't have to be everything all at once. Because trust me, even
You
if
don't have to be everything everywhere all at once.
oh my God, man, did you really have to
Whoa.
do that? He's like, whoa. He's like, Freaky Friday. That's crazy. Not on a random Tuesday. But no, I mean,
What if you swap places with your dog, Bucky?
oh God, I would fucking hate that. He would be like, roof, roof. And it'd be me barking. And then I'd be like, the fuck are you doing, you idiot? Like, why are you barking?
Why are
at
my
me?"
legs so short and stubby?
He's like, maybe I should just hump Matt.
I don't even have a tail. What the fuck is wrong with me?
He's like, Matt, come here. And I'm barking at you. And he's like, what the fuck do you want? I'm like, yeah, come here. Let me hump you. Let me do something right. But he's like, the fuck are you doing, Bucky? He's like, oh, I'm just a little friendly with you. That's all. No, like I said, I mean, I think these movies, I mean, they give good examples. They do all this stuff, but at least they do have some sort of, lesson behind all this. And I think that's where if you don't have a movie that at least has some sort of lesson from it, or at least if you can follow the movie with the characters and you see that development,
Yeah.
then at least it's
Like
it's
I said, there
something.
has to be that emotional payoff. And this is where we talk about like the dangers of some of the, not the ones that we've talked about, but movies that are in this realm that we're doing this episode on, right? Like confusing magic rules or lazy endings where it's like a dream sequence, like, oh, you just woke up and it's a dream. That was a whole dream. Like, come on.
The fuck?
I mean, not everything can be as good as Wizard of Oz, right? Like you're waking up, you were there and you were there and you were there. Like
you were
it's just an instant L when you're doing these like lazy endings like that. Like, oh, that was just a dream. Like, come on.
yeah, I'd be like,
It works for Dickens because he wrote it like 18 or 1700s, whenever he wrote that stupid novel. But
No, I
if you're doing a story now, like you got to think, how does this end?
right. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go like Inception, like you have to like mind fucked people, like in that sense. That's not what we're saying here. What we're saying is,
I'm glad I don't have to mind fuck people, John.
do you have to mind fuck every movie? Yes, you do. You have to think of Inception every time.
Yeah.
No, it's true though. Like you want to make sure, movies have that good ending, it doesn't always have to be a warm feeling, right? Because like I know in the Adam Project, it kind of has a warm feeling in the end, but like he still has to go back and deal with that bullshit. Like there's still bullshit that he still has to deal with,
Right.
but like he's at least trying to at least understand from his younger self, like his point of view, even though he's like, fuck it, whatever. Like he's just like, okay, whatever. But like, in some of these movies, like, 13 going on 30, sure. I mean, you're looking at it like, okay, you know what? I'm okay to be a kid for now, right? Or like Big, or even Freakier Friday, or sorry, Freaky Friday, not Freakier Friday. Like you kind of have that appreciation with your mom and your daughter, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean the whole idea of that was that the the mom and the daughter both really didn't understand each other. They didn't understand each other's lives. Like the mother was kind of like, you need to grow up and act like an adult, and the kid was like, no, you need to not
Be a
act like an
kid.
adult and act like more like me. And the whole swap that they did really put themselves in each other's lives, and like, yeah, the daughter's life isn't exactly rose petals and chocolates. You know what I mean? There's problems there.
Right.
And obviously, when the daughter's and the mother, like, there's problems there too. And they both learned from living each other's lives that, like, hey, we're both kind of like broken in certain areas. Like,
Maybe we learn to help each other fix,
Yeah.
like, again, like show the weaknesses, show the strengths. Like, what can we do to help each other? And I agree. I mean, it's kind of like our friendship, Matt, even though he's like, fuck, if I was in your body, he's like, oh, I mean, he's like, well, I wouldn't have to worry about the timelines and the and the random shit that I do. And then I'm like, shit, I got to do this now. I got to write all this shit out. I got to, blah, 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 make up some whatever stuff. And he's gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? And I'm like, oh, great. It's like, you fucked up. No, I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't have to do a body swap. I know what you do. And I do appreciate it. And I've said it multiple times, and I'm just saying, I will keep saying it. But again, we digress, and we need to move on with our lives, just like you, hopefully, at the end of this episode. But yes, next week, I will say one thing. We're going to have a 3-part series. We're going to be talking about a good old video game franchise called Assassin's Creed.
yes.
And yes, it's one of my favorite series, of course. But I mean, I'm not talking about Matt, because I'm just saying I love playing Assassin's Creed growing up, and I still love playing it now. But
I like a few of them. I can't say that I love, like, or played all of them, because there's like,
no, I mean, there's so many.
there's like 72 Assassin's Creeds.
No,
Assassin's Creed Russia and Assassin's Creed.
No, okay. Listen, there's definitely a few that I have not played. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a ton of them, and we're not going to break down every game, but each of the 3 episodes is a different era within.
Yeah, it's like a
within
saga
the-
era, like of like different games in those particular ones. But like
Yeah.
the OG era, like the, kind of the middle era of like, where was Assassin's Creed heading, and then like the last era being like, the origins and the Valhalla kind of thing, and like where does that lead to the future kind of a deal. So, just stay tuned. You'll figure it out, and it'll be a good time. But anyways, yes, I know that we'll be dropping on this Monday, of course. But again, because this week coming up is going to be good old New Year's, so I hope you enjoy your New Year's to come, as well as just hopefully new beginnings and everything else that we're trying to spread the word here. But go ahead,
and,
what's
and
up?
don't have a chronological hangover.
Oh yeah, he's like, don't do that, man.
You see what I did there?
He's like, don't be waking up regretting all this shit that you
Don't be waking up in the 80s now.
He's like, wait a minute, if you do, call us, let us know. Wait. He's like, oh wait, I got a call from the past. Oh, isn't that a show, Frequency? Oh, that would be interesting. Anyways, no. So, like I said, do a little fist bump. Follow Instagram. No, I'm joking. Follow, interact, subscribe, tell your friends. Do all that fun stuff. Go check out our merch store. I mean, we got some stuff on there, of course. I know. I actually just recently bought a shirt for my mother-in-law, so she has one now. So, just saying, it's true. I've tested it out. Yes, it will come from, I believe, Printify, and it does get her actually in a reasonable time. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll be able to check us out, do all that fun stuff. Check out the Evolve stuff. Check out all the cool knickknacks and shit, I mean, I'm not going to go too further into this, but Matt's coming up with some interesting musical stuff. I'm not going to say what it is, but maybe, you'll explain that later on, of course. But
yeah, I have, obviously, like, I'm trying, I did the AI shit show, which is on Spotify. You can listen to that.
of course.
But I have some songs already.
He's not going to, you see, the problem is he's not going to reveal anything. Let's just say it's going to be very philosophical, maybe deep in some
Emotional?
of the,
Oh.
maybe
Oh.
it could be. I don't know.
Maybe it could be.
Maybe that's the biggest hint you could ever give them.
Probably, yeah. Okay.
But anyways, until next time, boys and girls.